Today I'm going to break from the regular theme of this channel and talk a little bit about a trend in the music industry that is becoming a serious threat to the viability of streaming platforms: the malicious misuse of AI-generated music. Before I talk about the specific scam that's plaguing streaming platforms, I want to cover a little bit about visual AI images and their relationship to the music industry since they've become more widely available. Over the last year or two, artwork generated by artificial intelligence has become a hot topic that's getting more widely discussed. Artists have worried about their livelihoods being stolen by the technology, and various concerns have arisen out of where the data is sourced for the images that are created by AI. One of the main issues that people take with the technology is that images from all around the internet have been scanned and data mined, and then used without permission in the creation of new images. Personally, this isn't even my main issue with AI, though we really should all be getting paid for our data that's collected by big data corporations. Instead, my main issue with this sort of image generation for commercial uses is that it's fundamentally anti-human. If you're watching this channel, you probably know that I love progressive rock. Prog is a genre that's in every way about the process of music making. It centers on a technical understanding of music that's deeper than a lot of other genres, and values the musicianship and artistry of the individuals producing the music. What I value in this style of music is what I value in all art. For me, the human experience of expressing oneself and bearing witness to that expression is a connection that transcends the end product of simply hearing a song or looking at an image. The years of practice and hard work put into producing a work of art is something beautiful in its own right, and it's not just that AI-generated artwork lacks this. It's that it devalues those who still understand and appreciate it, and those who participate in it. It's anti-human. I know that there will be some people who say that the end product is really all that matters here, and I don't agree, but even if that's the case, by the end of this video you'll see why it's an issue when applied to music streaming platforms either way. The first issues that I noticed in the music scene were not related to AI-generated music itself, but using album covers and videos that are machine-generated. The first larger act that I really saw do this in real time was LS Dunes, which is Anthony Green from Circus Survive's newer project. They put out an AI-generated video that was ridiculed by a lot of fans, but they ultimately decided to stand by it, saying that they've worked with and will continue to work with all types of artists, including those who use generative methods. The metal scene seems particularly inundated with AI artwork. The band Deicide caught so much flack for the cover of their recent album Banished by Sin that they initially changed it, but they've since decided to stand by the original cover. If you look into it, people have compiled huge lists of AI-generated album covers by this point, and for better or worse, each one of these is a missed opportunity for a visual artist and money saved for the bands. Over the last year or so, I've been working on a new album with one of my bands, and I've been looking a lot at marketing and a lot of what the other bands are doing in my own scene. I've seen several bands doing this and defending it to the death, and I can even understand why it's tempting to do. Small bands are strapped for cash, and getting the style of artwork that you want can cost a lot of money. For releases that I've done, my bands have worked with some awesome artists like Luca Martinati, Terry Ringler, and David Hardy, who worked with bands like Pink Floyd, Hawkwind, and the Moody Blues. It's cost us around $1,000 for each of the artworks, and I understand that this isn't tenable for everyone, and it wouldn't be for me either if we were trying to do that for every single that we put out. So for most of those singles, we make our own artwork. But if you're in a small band and in need of artwork, it really is okay to just take a cool picture on your phone and do some light editing. Some of my favorite album covers ever are relatively simple photos. Not everything has to have the same artistic depth as a Storm Thorgerson cover. Or there's basically the whole of historical art that is under the public domain. Just these unimaginably beautiful works of art that you can pretty much just use or reuse parts of it for a collage or a composited image. For those who can afford to work with someone cool, it's both a process that's more human-centric and more beneficial for your music career. Having the name of a good artist and creating a personal relationship with somebody who works on that sort of thing only helps to strengthen your brand and your image.
This may sound like Demi Lovato, but it's not.
Full-scale AI music generation is a relatively new technology that saw a massive explosion in availability with the release of Suno AI and competitors like Udio. Suno makes it so that with a monthly subscription of $30, you can create up to 2,000 songs, or even more if you purchase credits. Unlike earlier AI music, where you could swap the voice of a singer for anyone else that had a dataset trained on their vocals,
This is AI, and this is you singing.
Cuts out the bag.
Suno can create a full song in just about any style that you prompt it with, using lyrics that you either provide or that are generated from a prompt that you give it. Sometimes the AI spits out surprisingly convincing music, but most of the time it's pretty obvious.
In a world of circuits and wires, where humanity aspires, technology's taking control. Are we playing a part, or just selling our souls? Computerized minds, digital hearts. Are we losing ourselves in these mechanical arts? The beats and boots.
The large amount of music that can be generated so quickly has given rise to a scam that's beginning to plague streaming platforms, and so far nothing's being done about it. The basic outline of the scam goes like this. Generate as many of these songs as possible. Create an account with a music distribution platform, usually DistroKid, since it allows you to upload as many songs as you want for a monthly charge, rather than per song like other platforms like CD Baby. Distribute the music to every available streaming platform as well as YouTube. Sometimes they'll also combine an hour's worth of the music on a giant playlist on YouTube too to increase viewership. Then they do this on a regular basis, tricking the algorithm into thinking that they're just an active uploader. Sometimes this is paired with botting, where fake listener profiles are trained to listen to music that you want the music to come up with so that they appear somewhat real. They'll also make playlists of all their AI music and then stream it over and over using bots. People will make multiple artist profiles for their AI music so that it doesn't appear that the bots are listening to just one band or that they're uploading at an impossible rate. Another trick is to use playlisting sites like SubmitHub and Daily Playlists to submit the generated music to playlists that include real songs, further disguising the fact that they're not real and working them into the algorithm alongside real musicians. On Spotify, each play that a song receives makes the artist around half of a penny, and that comes out to around $50 per 10,000 plays. Doing this with just 20 songs would net you around $1,000, and when you can pump out 2,000 songs pretty much instantly every month, it's not that hard of a number to reach. But even reaching this level is pretty difficult for new musicians who can't keep up with the rapid upload schedule that's favored by Spotify's algorithm. But along with botting and other tricks, this can be achieved pretty easily without detection. And even if it were to be caught, only the botting would really be punished by Spotify, as they seem to have taken a stance that AI music is permitted on the site. Most of this stuff is not really against Spotify's current terms of service. An AI song that's successful at working its way into Spotify's algorithm eventually gets played on Spotify's algorithmic playlists and the autoplay radio alongside real songs. And that gets it passive plays from being on in the background or maybe even fooling a listener who doesn't know the difference. You can find straightforward tutorials on how to run this sort of scam on YouTube, with this one particular video being this stomach-turning, self-congratulatory how-to that explains the process of making a song like this.
To start, click Create and select Composition. Then choose a genre. Now, when it comes to the music key, if you want it to sound happy, go for a major scale. If you want a more sad vibe, select the minor scale. You can even pick a specific key. Then choose the duration of the track and hit Create. As you see, the track is generated. Give it a listen. You can download it, or if you want, you can edit it using the built-in editor. For me, I usually like it as is.
And yeah, that's really the extent of this guy's understanding of music. This is on a channel that also teaches you how to create AI animation videos for YouTube kids with little to no work, and push them out to undiscerning children who won't know the difference when their absent parents sit them in front of a tablet for hours to browse the platform. And by the way, if you're a parent, please don't do this sort of thing. These videos, and not even just the AI scam ones, but nearly all of them are just horrible for kids. The American Academy of Pediatrics put out guidelines a little while back saying that you should limit kids' screen time to under an hour a day. And they've reported that shows like Cocomelon and others can actually lead to reduced emotional stability and even damage to executive functions. They're formulated to be overstimulating, and kids that age need to be out using their bodies to interact with the world. That's how we learn to be human. Anyway, the author of the videos that I mentioned claims to make $10,000 a month from the YouTube Kids scam and thousands with the Spotify scam. And I don't know if those are real numbers or not, but it doesn't really matter. That sort of messaging encourages others to go out and try this as well, and that only compounds the issue. Here's some examples of the sort of thing that I'm talking about that are especially obvious. You can see that the album covers are stock images with some extremely simple text pasted over them. And if you click through the songs, there isn't a consistent genre. Some of these are rock tracks and some are rap, and they're all obviously AI. Clicking into the artist playlist, you can see that there are a bunch of different artist names, all with the same template for album covers, but focusing on approximations of different genres. Looking at the artist profiles individually, they range from hundreds or thousands or even hundreds of thousands of monthly listeners. You can find more of these profiles by going to a song radio and looking through what comes up alongside them. Sometimes there'll be real bands and musicians mixed in, but a lot of times it's what the bots are mostly listening to, which is other AI music. Check this one out. Does that sound like it deserves 323,000 monthly listeners? And by the way, I don't think that this one is using Suno AI. It might be one of the others, or it could just be a bunch of samples thrown together, but it's definitely using the same bot networks as the others. I'm not sure what's going to happen next. Streaming platforms don't seem to see the urgency of the situation. Listening to Spotify CEO Daniel Ek talk about AI music, it doesn't seem like he's even on the right wavelength to understand the issues that this technology poses. He's more interested in discussing who owns the copyright to generated music and how it'll make it possible for anyone to be involved in music making, regardless of their skill level or percentage of your life invested in bettering yourself. But even in their own financial interest, platforms should be banning this sort of content or allowing for the reporting of it. It may be difficult to automatically detect, and this will only become more of a problem as the technology advances. Unfortunately, any automatic detection will likely result in false positives, having the music of real bands and artists removed alongside it. But if this continues on, platforms like Spotify will continue paying out money to AI artists from false plays that don't drive any engagement on their platform, and they serve ads to no one, wasting advertisers' money as well. Eventually, advertisers are going to pull out of a situation like that. Huge amounts of money in Spotify's pool of what they're supposed to be paying to artists will be going to these AI scams, and that's probably already happening. But when a sufficient number of large enough artists or whole labels pull their catalogs from the platform, it's going to harm their business. This is probably what it's going to take for them to take notice. But it'd be much better for everyone if something happened sooner. As of April 1st of this year, Spotify rolled out new policies that are aimed at combating certain issues with their royalty model. They established the Music Fights Fraud Alliance, which has an express goal of cutting down on artificial plays. They changed their payout model to require 1,000 plays on a song before you get paid out. And that's something that a lot of smaller artists were upset about, but it's ultimately a good thing for reducing fraud. I think about it a little bit like YouTube's partner program, where you have to reach a threshold before you see any money. They're also taking measures to combat noise, which they talk about on their website as things like white noise, whale sounds, and static that listeners will often stream for hours at a time in the background. Sometimes this is exploited by bad actors who cut their tracks artificially short with no artistic merit in order to maximize royalty-bearing streams. This is a similar scam that was going around and was more of a problem, and it's good to see that they've caught on to it. The way that they're addressing it is setting a minimum track length, so they can't cut them into small bits and have people have to stream every 30-second clip of it and get extra royalties from it. This is something that they can't really do with AI music because it's in its own genre, it's, background noise and that sort of thing, ambient music, whatever. But AI music is being made to sound like other genres, but it's just destroying the algorithm for the real musicians in those genres. I have my fair share of issues with streaming platforms in general. It's always better to support your favorite musicians directly by purchasing their music or going to see them live or wearing their merchandise. And this is only going to be truer and truer as time goes on, and musicians have to contend with a digital marketplace fraught with scams and algorithm-destroying bots. But I don't really want to see platforms like Spotify fail. They really do democratize music making to a point, and they make it easier for smaller artists to build followings. I'd like to see them do well and make efforts to pay their artists more fairly, as well as continue to create tools that help smaller acts to reach the ears of listeners who like similar music. In order for that to ever become a reality, something has to be done about these AI scams before they spiral out of control. With all of that said, I do still believe that artificial intelligence has its uses in creating art. You can use it to do things like manipulate existing images and visual art, with AI tools making better methods for masking, blending images, and removing unwanted objects from photographs. I've used an AI image stabilizer for film that actually did wonders for shaky footage. In music, I trained a dataset on my own voice, and if I'm struggling to find a good way to hit a difficult note, sometimes I'll run it through AI and hear what it would sound like if it was an idealized version of myself singing it, or even another singer hitting the note. This has given me a way to visualize those difficult passages so I can practice them before recording the final take. I've also come across some promising tools for AI mixing assistants that don't just mix a song for you, but they provide real-time feedback on possible improvements to a song's mix, effectively helping you to better learn to do it on your own. But for any of these positives to matter, something has to be done about the wholesale generation of art and music by AI and scammers using it to manipulate platforms. Thanks for watching this video. I'm not sure what we can reasonably do about this issue without it becoming more widely known, but with the vice grip that streaming platforms have on the industry right now, especially Spotify, it has to be sorted out so that musicians can continue to innovate and create music that truly resonates with us on a human-to-human level. If you got something out of this video, please give it a like and share the message with somebody who cares. And for those of you who have been waiting for a new video from this channel, I don't mean to totally abandon the channel, and I still have a few things planned for the future. If you'd like to see what I've been working on in the meantime, you can check out my band Firmament. I'm really proud of the work my brother and I have put into that project. And thank you to the Patreon subscribers, This Is a Sword, Yvonne LaCroix, Barry Derigno, Chris Jeffrey, Anders Engstrom, Joey Bergio, Slugman, Cherry C, and Evan Satinsky. I know that I don't post videos that often, but if you wanted to join the Patreon, you only get charged when I post a video, and it really does help me out and incentivizes me to keep making videos. And thanks to everyone else watching this video. I hope you have a good rest of your day.